What is going on, guys? Long time no see. It's been a while since I made a video. Life happens. This is a rare piece I have right here.
I do declare, good sir, that looks like a Volkswagen Rallye front end.
And for those that are unaware, this headlight setup, this is from 1980 something. So the technology at the time was really high tech. Now this is very dated technology. This is a halogen setup. What ended up happening is I got hold of Mike over at VX Tuning. And for those of you that have been kind of in the know that that name has come up a lot lately. Mike has been putting an ensemble of rare parts together for a lot of really rare Volkswagens, and one of them being the Rallye. I will put a link to his site right down here in the description. Please have a look over there. These are not off-the-shelf parts. Everything has to be built to order. So those of you that might be interested, just bear in mind that most of this stuff requires a group buy, and that also requires a lot of waiting because you're waiting for everybody else to step in to help overcome the cost of production. But I will say this is probably going to be worth the wait if you're interested. Okay, so what we have here is I think it's a 25 watt LED. It's a bi-LED. If I remember correctly, it runs somewhere in the 5600 Kelvin range as far as color. I've seen video outputs of this, and the lighting on these is phenomenal. So essentially what we're looking at is just an updated version that is going to go directly right into the housings, the original housings. The original setup is not, it's got a fixed shield on it. So when the high beam goes on, this doesn't really do anything. And it's almost like wasted light. The new one is a bi-LED. The shield will open and the high beam that's on the headlight will activate as well. It's got fans built in. The adjusters are metal. I have gone ahead and made one, and it looks like this. So, you know, everyone wants to know how well they fit. I won't even make you watch the whole video. They fit amazing. The fitment is as good as it could possibly be. The only real difference between the two that you're going to notice is the stamping here. That is not etched in the glass. That's actually like a stamp in the back of the glass. You could wipe that off with your finger, these little lines. That's the only thing that's not on these. I don't care about them. And another thing to consider is that this original setup was made for right-hand drive. When you order these from VX Tuning, you have the option for left or right-hand drive vehicles. First things first is we are going to go play with the light output. We're going to go plug these things in right now and actually compare old technology to this new technology from VX Tuning and see what it's all about. Okay, here's original output. So this is the low beam. And as you can see, there's like a dip where it shoots up to the side there. So there's that. It's okay, I mean, it's not terrible. Here's the high beam. Yeah, okay. So here's the VX Tuning setup. Look at that cutoff pattern. Woohoo! So the light output on the low beam is obviously night and day difference as far as it's definitely got a better spread pattern. It's got a definitely got a better throw. The cutoff is immaculate, and the output is more even. The high beam, wow, look at that. So these are going to be great. I can't wait. Well, obviously that was a 9-day difference between the factory halogen low beam and the VX Tuning bi-LED. So let's get into the lens side of things. Again, well packaged. So yeah, the only difference between this and the original is it says VXT, and it doesn't have the little lines on there really. Dimensions, its fitment was great. The projector itself just comes right out.
Oh, hello! Welcome to cooking time. Today, we're going to cook the headlights. It's going to be beautiful. First things first, you want to get the oven up to 250 or 240 degrees. You want to make sure you have protection. It's hot. you want to make sure when you take your headlight, place it into a pan. This allows for even distribution of heat. You want to bake it for roughly around maybe 10 minutes or so, maybe even less. If you like, you could check it and make sure that the glue has become soft and malleable, but not too hot to melt any of the plastic on the housing. After about 7 to 10 minutes of baking yourself, as well as the headlight, it's a good time to check and see the condition of things and how things are going. The last thing we want to do is burn our headlight. That would make for a real bad time. Oh, looks good. Smells about ready. Let's take it out. We've removed our headlight. We can get to removing the glass. Time to use the pry tool. This will take some time, so you must be patient. If it doesn't come right away, don't be sad. You may have to put it back into the oven to bake a little bit longer.
Now we got the lens off, we want to take the high beam and we want to take the low beam out. And that is not hard on these. And this is what's cool about this setup, is it's a bolt-in affair. So this just literally comes out. Okay. A pair of them. One a little bit better shape than the other. They're both pretty whack. So both of these were broken in some manner, whether it be on the front or the back. So there's a lot of debris in here. So this has to be cleaned out. Another thing is the factory color on this is the silver. I really like the updated black housing look, which is what I did to this. And I think it makes it look a lot newer and a lot more updated. Another thing I did is I painted the actual shield for the high beam, which I think just gives it a little bit of contrast against the chrome. So we're going to take this piece out. There's a little wire in here. You want to make sure you pop that out. No big deal. Just doesn't get hung up on anything. Yeah, so to take these out, you just extend them out all the way. Get the shield will get to the very end of its travel on the adjustment screw, and it'll come right out. There you go. And there's our high beam. So the idea is that we're going to wash and clean all this out. So we're going to pop this shield off. It's held on the back by a couple tabs. It's directional, so you can't put it back on wrong. Just go underneath. Now, a little squeeze, it comes right out. So we're going to paint that black. Okay guys, here is the reflector. Now I'm going to point out that the chrome on these is not exactly super strong. The German stuff like this tends to be a little bit stronger than most other brands out there, but you have to treat this like it's super delicate. A lot of the stuff is not chrome. Like this is a good metal one where it's actually kind of like a chrome on there, but new ones are like plastic with a paint like chrome that's way more delicate. So lots of water. Another thing is wash your hands before you handle it. Start washing it. Give it a good rinse. That includes the backside. And do not be shy about the soap. And use just basic Dawn. Use the stuff that they could use on baby ducks. Put it on what you're using to wash. Make sure whatever you're using is clean and has a lot of soap. Soap is what's going to help prevent that scratching. It's going to carry all that dirt off. So we're going to really soak it with soap. When you're done, you're going to want to use compressed air on this. You do not want to use a paper towel or anything to dry it off. If you do, dab in like this and be extremely careful. Do not wipe. So let's give her a good rinse here. Now I'm going to blow this off with some compressed air to dry it off. This is that sits and covers the projector. So you'll notice there's these tabs there, and they sit directly just right in there in that channel. So that's why you got to be careful in removing the lens. You have to figure out if this is attached to the lens or if it's staying to the bottom, or like my situation, it was attached to both. One end attached to the lens, one end attached there, so I had to cut it out really carefully. Another thing is these things have what's called city lights, which is this right here. And these basically are made to wire into your parking lights. There's one or two ways of going about this. If you've got the tool or the know-how, you could just unclip this clip and it'll come right out. The whole thing will come out. I just rub some tape over it and actually use it like a handle as something to hold it onto. And but yeah, we're going to do the same process. We're going to go and we're going to clean up all this stuff. We're going to wash this all out like we did again with Dawn liquid soap. We're going to tape over these because these are, it's not that these are delicate. The adjusters that they go into on almost all these tend to be plastic, so they can strip out easy. So you want to make sure these threads are as clean as possible. So don't paint over these, put tape over these. So this is how I was able to get these. I went and I found a screwdriver that was just the right width to fit into the channel, and that's perfect how nice that comes out. So it makes light work of this for me. And I just get the edges where I can. I also make sure you'll look, there's these little tabs right here. Make sure you clean those little tabs area. Those are the recessed areas for the projector. I guess I don't know if this is housing cover or whatever. Some guys paint these. I'm not going to. Another option is to paint them black from behind or smoke them from behind. We're not going to do that. We're going to leave them clear and just let the black housing of the headlight itself do its thing. So yeah, I'm going to go wash this thing up and scrape all the sealant off. Okay, so I got the headlight all cleaned up. Again, you don't want to use any harsh detergents on this. Just basic hand dish soap works perfectly fine. I used a toothbrush on it, but a clean toothbrush. And so I got it air dried. It's all cleaned up. I got the reflector sitting over off to the side. It's ready to go. The key to this stuff and the perfect tone of black, in my opinion, has been this stuff right here. SEM has been the product I've been using for years. If also you're ever trying to do plastics, vinyl, or anything like that, this stuff is amazing. I've used this on color changes on dashes. This particular product is just the trim black. They make SEM color coat, which is specifically for like dashes and things like that. But this is good for just the trim stuff. Works really well on plastics. So again, make sure you got all your shaking done. I'm going to go in and just hit from the backside really quick here, because that's how I like it. And just a light coat, nothing crazy. Because you're going to go back and hit it again. SEM is where it's at. Same thing with the reflector. Just give her the old, sorry, I don't know if I'm moving on camera. And you'll notice this stuff dries really fast. You'll notice it's more like a dye than a paint. After it dries, you'll notice how it bonds. It's good stuff. What's good about it going on quick and drying quick is it'll tack up quick, and then boom, you throw another coat on. This is what I like about it, is it's got this like perfect sheen to it. It's a good black. It's not satin, it's not gloss, it's like perfectly in between, just right. The shield for the high beam reflector. So again, it only goes in one way. There's a smaller tang here and a larger opening here. And you just want to stick, yes, kitty, I know, these ends here. See what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Make sure we're straight. And then they're going to fold over those tabs right there. There, I'm pretty happy with that. The ground and the high beam wire go here. Now here's something that's interesting though, is that because we are using both high beam and low beam at the same time, we need power to go to the shroud to hit the actuator open for the projector. So I'm going to slide this thing in first. Now I'm going to put this in. Make sure you get these straight. You don't want to cross thread these bad boys. I don't know that those are replaceable at all. That's another thing I probably should have mentioned, is that when I bought these, he did offer an LED high beam, which is pretty phenomenal. Check this thing out. It's always in the details. Like, look at this. It's heavy too. It's got a good weight to it, which means it takes, it disperses heat probably pretty well. It's got a logo on there. Because I'm using these with his aftermarket projectors, it comes with this jumper, which kind of what it does is it actuates the high beam flipper door on the projector. So this particular car, because we need high beam and low beam at the same time, we're going to use that function on the fuse box, which is something we're going to do later. Isn't that pretty? And it goes in just like that. Their projector is, this thing is so money. Another thing I like about these is just the difference in quality. This is actually better than the factory unit, and I don't mean that just because it's newer technology. I mean, it's better. Like the hardware, the adjusting hardware, this is better. Is also already installed like a seal right here, and it actually seems like it's a little bit better than the seal that comes on the factory units. So like this is as plug in and play as it gets, guys. So we have to fish this wiring through here. So we have a ground, we have our low beam activation, and our high beam. So the high beam doesn't actually light up anything, it just activates the actual shield that opens up to the high beam section. So I'm going to fish these through. So this can only clock in one direction, and it is clocked in the right way. So consider folding tabs over. So you'll look here, we have our high beam wire and our ground. Well, this is the jumper wire that is going to activate the high beam switch for the shield over on this side. That's what that's for. That's why it comes over. So it pretty much plugs in exactly how it looks. So the heat sink on this LED is pretty good size. So you want to make sure that when you put this thing in there, you're careful, because the retaining spring, the clip that clips down over it, it goes in there really tight, and it goes right up against that wire there. So, you know, kind of pay attention when you're putting it together. And it is going to be in there a lot tighter than the factory one because of the width of it. So here's the reason why this thing has two wires coming off of it. So we have one that's going to go directly into the actual high beam. This is going to go, this is the jumper wire we installed over here. These right here together. And so that these aren't exposed, he's included these. They just clip right over your factory wire and make it so it has its own terminal, like connector holder. So then you just plug it in. So again, when you put these in, just be thoughtful, because you want this thing to be able to adjust. So the air, these all should move freely. They shouldn't be in the way of anything. And there you go. So a lot of people use different things for sealant, and everybody's got something different they use. A lot of people will use window weld, which is fine. Window weld will definitely seal. The problem is that I have found with window weld is that I want to remove it later on. It's definitely difficult, and I feel like it's not as forgiving with heat. Whereas if you use butyl that's designed to go on the headlight. It is temperature, dependent. So if you put it in the oven and you get it to 250, it'll soften up. Like when you first put this stuff on, you'll notice that it is soft. Over time, it's going to harden up. It gets better, but it'll release back again with heat if you need to get back into the headlight.
We're going to bake again.
All right, this
You don't want to put it in too long. The new glue is much softer and it won't take as long to mushing. So we'll come back in a few moments after we've had an opportunity to bake ourselves. Let's take it out. Oh, it smells wonderful. Remember, the new glue does not take as much time or as much heat to soften up. Now that it's had an opportunity to get warm, we'll take it out and we'll mush it together.
Okay, while that is cooling, I've got it clamped and cooling. And before we actually plug this in and play with the harness, I got one other thing to show you guys, and that is this. And this is actually a harness, okay? For those of you that don't know, the plugs on this thing is going to be specific to that and a Corrado. So I was able to go through a guy named Brandon Croca who has done a few harnesses for me. He actually, most of my cars that are relayed up to have like high wattage bulbs, all those harnesses were done by him. Everything I've ever gotten from him has been pretty spot on, good gauge wiring. And this is stuff I've had on my car for years and it's been operating without an issue. So it was a no-brainer to go to Brandon again. Brandon, if you're watching, thank you again for all of the harnesses that you've provided for me. And for those of you looking, Brandon is typically on any of the G60/Rallye forums. And he's always usually posting something up for sale. Just to ask around, I'm sure you'll find him if need be. But thank you again. Let's go plug this in and play with it.
All right. I know you can't really see it, but well, there it is. There she is. I wish I got this. You can almost see like there's a little particle of dust down on the bottom of that, but I don't know. I may pop that off and clean it. Maybe not. I may just leave it alone. I'm the only one that's really gonna notice it, I guess. But let's fire it up. Let's have a little look-see. Oh, dude, yeah. And again, this harness is money. Look at that. Beautiful. It's so pretty. Dang. That is gorgeous. Hold on for the effect. Hold on. Oh my. Ooh, look at that. That is nice. Yeah, I got a little bit of dust on that. It's okay. Maybe some dust, maybe some air will blow it off, but man, look at that. Focus. Look at that. It's awesome. I'm pleased. I'm super happy. I wish the car was here, but we've actually got, dang, that is so cool. Draw a line. Just draw a perfect line. It's such a nice cutoff. Oh, man. So, yeah, I'd like to have these on the car right away. Unfortunately, I'm busy with this. This is a whole other video in itself. This is the little German DeLorean. So, yeah, we'll have to have an update soon with this. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you again, VX Tuning, Brandon Croca, the guys over at Europro for helping me get some miscellaneous stuff for this. Everybody that helped me get in on the group buy, because I definitely was alerted to that by a few people. I had no idea this was a thing. So, oh, and of course, Austin, thank you again for these. They aren't going to sit on the shelf. They are going on the car. They will get driven. They will get used. Thank you again for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon.